Hey, everybody. This is Tina from the Why We Still Can podcast. It is July 1st, 2026, and I ended up getting the afternoon off. So I hit up Tony to see what Tony was doing, and he was busy trolling. So had him hop on here with me so we can get a little news in before the 4th of July, the big party. So, how you doing, Tony?
I'm good. Good. Now that the weight of the world with CERN being turned off, uh,
My timeline has shifted, so you can suck a fat one, Tony. Okay.
I'm not saying that.
I know, I'm just giving you shit. I'm just giving you shit. It's funny, but anything good that happens from here on out since they shut down the CERN collider yesterday, the 29th. Um, okay, listen, they're doing some weird shit, okay? Watch some of the videos of the ritualistic stuff that they do before they turn it on and off. And then yesterday was the full moon, and it was like some sort of witchy shit.
Strawberry moon. Yep.
Strawberry moon. Is that like the blood moon?
It's like,
But yes. What the fuck ever. I thought I was taking astrology, but I was really taking astronomy, so it's fine.
yeah, the world's crazy still. I mean, nothing's going to change that. And I think we just need to continue to help people understand how they can make a difference. I think that's the key right there. I've been talking to people
Yep.
any opportunity I get a little bit just to kind of highlight some of the stuff that people aren't aware of. We've talked about it
Absolutely.
plenty of times, is just getting people to understand, these are the things that you should be paying attention to, even if you don't want to. you know
Right.
so
Well,
go
go ahead. Go ahead. Keep going.
it's just interesting when you one thing that I think has helped me a little bit is just it being a little more personal for me because of the things that I've been involved in. So it helps people listen because it's real. I'm like, it might sound sensational, but what I'm telling you is completely real in what I'm dealing with. And I think
Absolutely.
understand, uh, you know, we can be heard, and but we have to start paying attention too. Um, look at Albania and the hundreds of thousands of people. We should have been protesting to the millions at this point, and we've been brainwashed, whatever you want to call it, to just look the other direction, expect it
Well, and
to fix it.
I feel like one excuse that we do have, though, is that the United States is so big
Mhm.
and compartmentalized, and our media is completely captured. So,
Yes.
unless you are looking for it, typing it in, um, finding suppressed accounts like Tony, like you're going to spend hours of your day, and you're already poor because inflation and fucking all the shit. So, like, you don't have the time to do the work, but again, Tony's done it for you,
Oh,
and so we're bringing it to you.
well, I think the thing is more also just the fact that this whole thing is being fought on the digital front for the most part, and most people go to their social media apps just to you know numb their mind,
Doom scroll.
doom scroll or whatever. And I keep asking people, especially like on the primary apps like Twitter, that being my main voice area, is to be effective when you're on those apps. Find ways, small ways, whether it be reposts of information that's new to you. I keep telling people reposts are much better than likes, because likes
Right.
don't mean anything. You can't even look and see what somebody liked anymore. So likes are like they might as well not exist anymore. Reposts
Right.
are the most important thing, and that's how you can start to be effective online. And like I said, I've been doing it for 10 years, and I've done a lot of the work that so nobody has to at this point. But there's ways with social media that you have to learn kind of what they do too. I was on True Social 2 different times. I'd gotten banned. My, and me, I'm fully
Tony.
transparent. I mean, I've always been that way. Long before I met anybody, long before we've been on podcasts, long before this stuff, I'm always just 100% who, I'm just about truth. And when I went on True Social, my name that I created was Real Truth, Real Facts. That was my and that alone just pissed everybody off because of the things that I was sharing. Especially, I was sharing documents for the indictment and documents from January 6th and all this other stuff that they don't want to see. But what I learned on True Social, and what was interesting, and I'm not ever going to go back on that shitty ass app because it's just a hellhole and not worth it.
Shithole. Yeah.
But I learned so much on there because of just the tactics they use. It's very obvious. It's everything you expect it to be when you go on that app. It's a bunch of horrible people saying a bunch of horrible things and pumping up Trump. I mean, it's really just a Trump ego app more than anything.
What did you get kicked off for, Tony?
Oh,
Too
just
many truths? Like
yeah.
too much truth?
Well, exactly. I mean, it was interesting because there were coordinated efforts of people, just like we see on Twitter, but it's a much, especially when I was on it, True Social wasn't nearly what it is even today. And um, I would have, there was this group of people that had avatars called the Fungi Crew. And they actually created avatars, and they were all the same, but everybody had their own little avatar, but it was generally the same thing. And I started, quote unquote, collecting them anytime they would engage me. I'd take a screenshot of it. Oh, I caught one more, because they were coordinated effort coming after me. And I think they were the ones that got me banned the first time. And it was, working amongst each other, coming after me, reporting the things that I was posting, even though it was all very truthful. But I was doing what I do, Trump rapes,
Trolling.
Trump, and
Uh-huh.
and the interesting thing about True Social is that it really is all about Trump. I mean, if you go on there and you look at the people that are on quote unquote Trump's side, his sycophants that are on there, it's only the worst of the worst. I mean, honestly, most legitimate, or what you would call legitimate, right wing people aren't really on True Social at all. So when you go on there, it's the Cash Patels, it's the Mike Flynn's, it's the Roger Stones, it's all those people that are trolling on True Social as well.
Right.
But that app really is only about Trump as far as I'm concerned. And the one thing with Trump, and everybody knows this, is he looks through his comments anytime he posts anything, because he looks for stuff, especially on True Social, that he can repost that flatters him. So he would post something, you could go to his comments and you would see all these things. But the one thing that was great about True Social is the way the algorithm works. It was easy to troll. So Trump would make a comment. Timing is everything. And this is the same thing on Twitter. If you go to your For You feed, it's horrible. We all know that. They're feeding us right wing stuff and whatever. But you may see something on there that uh, oh, I don't like that. I want to comment. But it's one of the horrible people posting something just to get a kick out of us.
Yeah.
And it was posted 12
Taunting you.
hours ago, and they already have several thousand comments. I mean, putting a comment really is like pissing in the ocean. It's not really doing anything, So if
Right.
you're going to be more effective, be timely on posts. So usually,
Right.
if I see somebody talking crazy stuff, I'll go and I'll find a way that I can get in their face about things to where they see it. And on True Social, it was easy to do, especially with Trump. So I have no doubt that I'd gotten Trump's attention, and that probably leads to the second time I was banned on True Social. And it's funny because if I really wish somebody would be smart enough among them that I'm the same person that they sent the demand letter to about the stuff that I put.
They're not putting the puzzle
Yeah,
pieces
but I am
together.
the same
Once
person
you
that did that
lie
shit on.
so much,
Yes.
you cannot. That's the problem. You forget your lies. You forget who you're fucking even mad at.
Yeah, well,
Like,
that's the thing with the True Social stuff, is because if Trump realized that I'm the same guy that was trolling him a few years ago on True Social, that would just spin him that much more, because I know he saw all the shit I was posting on,
oh
and
yeah, there's a pod set for you in
yeah,
his head.
yeah.
Okay, he's got some TDS, Tony derangement
Tony
syndrome.
derangement system. Yeah, thank you. I'm going to actually use that from now on.
You better.
But so one of the things that I did, though, and this is kind of a tactic I would encourage people to do, is sometimes when you create your own memes, or you create a document or something, do stuff that gets their attention in a way. Like, I actually literally created a cross that had the American flag in the background with something else, and it was so over the top, but it just pissed him off even more, especially with my name. And when I was kicked off True Social the first time, within a few days I recreated a new account, and I went back to True Social as Real Truth Real Facts is back. I was super trolling them then, you know and it was just, but it was an interesting experience. And the last time I got kicked off of True Social, it was funny because I had posted a bunch of stuff like I usually do. And I think even my old Twitter accounts, especially my first fairly big Twitter account, when I used to live in Las Vegas, that got kicked off. I got kicked off right before the 2020 election. Yeah, for that with that account, uh, because I was posting like volume 5 stuff and Mueller report stuff. I mean, I was heavily posting this online on Trump's feed, and I think that's why I got kicked off of Twitter at the very.
Right.
The next time was when I discovered Paulo and I was dealing with Allison and McGonigal and all that other stuff. So there was a lot of stuff going on. On Truth Social, though, the second time I got kicked off, I was talking about Trump being an FBI informant. And I was just putting stuff out there that kind of just painted a clear picture of, he's gotten away with shit for years. And it's probably because he was always snitching on his foreign pals or anybody else, just enough to keep himself ahead of the law.
The trouble.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was funny because I was really going deep into it. I was like, yeah, he's been connected to the Italian mafia since the 70s and, the cement companies in New York City and all of that other stuff. And it was funny because, like, as I was going heavy on that, all of a sudden he posted a video of Sammy the Bull Gravano uh, saying, I could never get to Trump. I tried to get to Trump, but I could never get it. I could never corrupt him. I'm like, that's like I don't even know what's comparable to that in terms of I'm innocent. So let me have a mafia guy who's a buddy of mine uh, tell everybody,
Say
tell you all that.
yeah, I'm invincible. Yeah. Oh, well, okay. So honestly, though, Tony, I think that some homework for our listeners could be make that Truth Social account.
Yes.
Spread the information on there. If 100 of us do that, honestly, like people will see it, and it might not. But like people that are maybe questioning some things anyways, and give them some information that they have to see, and even if they just see it for a second and it pisses them off, it's still planting a seed that it might connect to something later, and then it's available for them.
Well,
Okay, so if and you don't go down like, honestly, we know, like, my opinion and things have changed over time because they should, with new data. Okay, so and I know that you're like, oh my god, if they haven't gotten it yet, they're not going to get it. But one little thing on a certain time where they're feeling a little weak, and it can help. And also, I did see a meme the other day that said Trump is the first man that all these Republican men could openly love and worship. And so that's why this is so crazy, because it's the first time they could be openly, attracted to a man, and they don't have to hide it.
well, the crazy thing is the suppression. I mean, one of the things I have now, I'm almost at 46,000 followers on Twitter. And the thing is when I was at 1,500 or even 5,000 followers on my old account or even this account, I was posting things that I was literally getting, several 100,000 views on, or even in some cases, I had wrote a Marco Rubio.
Yes, I'm still here. Oh, we were talking about something.
Yeah. So so the suppression part is, back when I had, a small percentage of the amount of followers I have now, I was posting things that were just as incredible as the things I post now and relevant. But, and I would get hundreds of thousands, if not even millions of views on those things. Whether it be a Marco Rubio thread, I have something I posted the divorce, not the divorce papers themselves, but the discussion about
Or
releasing the court papers for Donald and Ivana Trump, and that reached 2 million views, and that's on this current account. Now I post stuff, and I'm lucky if I get something that's very important, gets a couple 100,000 views. Now the other thing, and again, it's more about getting the information in front of people, but this is also the suppression we're talking about. That's why what you're saying, if we get 100 people to go to True Social and start trolling on True Social, or just sharing the information that other people like me and you others are sharing and putting out there, somebody's going to see it, because we're getting so watered down and suppressed. I mean, I won't go on and on, but I have literal proof of my suppression. I mean, even
yeah,
I looked up the other day is, you know, oftentimes I'll be sitting at a 3 to 5% retweet rate on a post, which is unheard of. I mean, you get a retweet and you do have something that reaches 100,000, usually you may be lucky to have a, you know, 0.5% retweet rate of that 100,000 views. Now, I'm still sitting at a 3 to 5% rate at a much higher view count. And, when I fed that into AI, they're like, yeah, that's so unusual. It's ridiculous that you're not getting any additional views. I mean, it's skewed. So we all of us have an effect. We can all be part of this, but we have to share information and think strategically when we're engaging on these platforms. It shouldn't be just doom scrolling. It should be effectively sharing information.
Well, they're using social media and the algorithm to brainwash you and to like fuck with you. So our duty is to fuck with them with it. Like you want to use, and that goes for anything. Like, we talk shit about all these things on here, like, the data centers and AI and all this shit. And I just want people to know I am not anti any of these things. I am anti extremism of these things. And when machines and all of these things that overtake life and take away things from humanity, that's when I have a problem. And when the people in charge of these super powerful things, systems, governments, groups, the extremism is the problem. And it's who's in charge of the AI or the government or whatever. It AI could be used for good, but if bad people are in charge of it, it's going to be used for bad. And so we need to reclaim those things, which is what we.
Well, and that reclaiming is the key right there. We live in a world where literally we could solve world hunger. We could solve, water issues. We could solve, you know, uh, energy issues through
Chronic illness,
chronic
we
illness.
could be living very nicely.
Yes, and we could be living in that utopia that we see, everybody dream about and post about, but it's because the wrong people have control of things, the wrong people have power and money, and they're not doing anything that's focused on helping humanity improve as a whole. They're helping themselves improve. They're helping themselves gain more power, more dominance, and more wealth over everybody else. I mean, look at the disconnect in wealth in our nation. How many millionaires and billionaires have been created in the last 7 years in the same time that our unemployment or our minimum wage has been at 7.25, stuck at 7.25 for the same amount of time, you
You
know.
can't even get a fucking Happy Meal
Yeah.
for seven. I'm not kidding.
No,
I went to
it's,
Subway and got a kid's Subway sandwich.
yeah, and we think about long ago when gas prices were down, or long ago when Happy Meals were inexpensive. But
Yeah,
it wasn't that long ago. I mean, I remember you could get 10
absolutely.
years ago, you could get a meal at McDonald's, a value menu meal for under $10 easily,
Oh
$7.
yeah, like
You
three
know, or
dollars.
Subway,
Honestly,
Subway, $5 foot long. What the hell happened to the $5 foot long? You're just talking.
Jared
Yes,
started diddling kids, and now we can't get our foot long anymore.
you can't
Okay,
have anything nice anymore.
can't have anything nice, Jared. Um, well, hold on. I was just reading. This is according to CBS, which Barry Weiss can suck it, but American workers' share of the nation's income is at its lowest point in almost 80 years, as more of the economy gains flow to corporations and investors. The trickle down is trickling up, y'all.
You also have to look at it simply. One person, okay, as the best example of it all. The man who, for a very short period, was the only trillionaire in the world, Elon Musk. And everything he is doing is self serving or Trump serving. And it is nothing to help us. And, Trump just gained, we talked about this, we want to talk about this, gained, his financial statement said he gained $1.3 billion in income from crypto alone, which crypto is a Ponzi scheme. It's the biggest, newest, greatest Ponzi scheme in history. Do not invest in crypto. I saw yesterday anybody that had invested $10,000 in a certain, like I think maybe the Trump one, the big one. If you invested $10,000 in crypto when back at the beginning of this, That $10,000 worth of crypto is only worth $415 now. Yes, and Trump
Well, and
made
I do want to
1.3
point
billion
out. Oh,
dollars.
sorry. Say that again. Say how much?
And Trump made $1.3 billion off of that same crypto that you lost $9,785 from.
Dude, he's gouging you just like his shoes, his phone, his steaks. Um, and I need to like tell people I have a friend that works in a bank in like the fraud area, and she's like, you would not believe how many old people call trying to turn in their Trump bucks and Trump coins and Trump shit.
Mhm.
That and they're she has to tell them, ma'am, that's not real currency. And they freak the fuck out.
Mhm.
They thought that it should be worth more. And I'm like, no, dude, that's toilet paper, okay?
Well, I
But
mean, that's a good example. The elderly people, another example is when they, would make a donation and didn't know that the automatic uh, payment was turned on for them when they made that single donation. So then thousands of dollars of loss later because they didn't realize this money was coming out of their account. Uh, there's no way for these people to recover it. I mean, these are the very simple, basic things that everybody should be concerned with and paying attention to. And more than anything, should be those idiots actually supporting him because they're the ones actually, they're the biggest, most gullible people that there are. I mean, the only reason where we're at right now is because these people have bought into the lie. It's that
well,
simple.
and they won't stop buying into like what's your end point. And
Literally.
I it's like for alcoholics and drug addicts, like they have to reach the bottom, and some of them like I'm like, okay, how was that not the bottom? You crashed into an ambulance, like
Mhm.
that's the bottom. And they're like, well, I'm gonna go a little lower, it's fine. And so it's just, well,
It's,
and then they're taking away all of your services for
yeah.
your old people. So we have, it's not the, African prince scam anymore. It's literally the Trump bucks and the Trump donation thing. And then they're taking away, SNAP benefits for older people, all these extra things that help them be able to even make ends meet. And they're trying to get rid, like, there's not going to be nursing homes. If the funding does not start back up, your grandma is not going to be living in the nursing home, and she's going to be throwing shit on your walls. So
Mhm.
it'll be January 6th 2.0 in your house. I don't know. But so even though people are like, "Oh, that's not affecting me right now." Okay, but when your grandma gives all the money that was supposed to be her retirement to these things, she's going to live with you, and then it is going to affect you. So if you just don't care about your grandma, maybe you don't care, but you will care when she's at your house.
Well, and for anybody that says nothing's affecting them right now, stop lying to yourself. We all go to the grocery store. We all put gas in our car. I mean, I don't, none of this was like this on January 19th, 2025. But on January 20th, the day that all prices were supposed to go down as promised on day one, and the day that instead the only promise he made was to be a dictator on day one, which he is. Uh, so, yeah,
Dictator.
yeah,
Mm.
dictator. Um,
Ugh.
Bubba, remember?
Bubba. I was just thinking about Bubba the other day. They tried to kick that video off TikTok too, and I'm like, he did it, not me.
Yeah. Well, and that, so I'm not worried. I mean, obviously I am worried, but there's, a large amount of the population that just is never going to break free of this lie. A small amount of them will when it comes to the far extreme that we're talking about when grandma has to come move into the house or all this other stuff. But enough of them are seeing it now. Being proud enough to admit it or, excusing it away in their own minds is a whole other thing. But we've got 39% of the nation that also didn't vote. And those are the people that I want to have their awakenings when they see this information. You don't have to spend, like you said at the beginning, you don't have to spend a lot of time digging into this information yourself. The work's been done for you by me and many other people. And, just uh, trust and verify. That's all I ask. And anything I share information, I have receipts for.
Absolutely. And I want to point out with people, not everybody is forthcoming about, are they getting money from somebody? Do they have a message they're trying to share that isn't really their own? And the thing is you can have opinion writing and you can have facts writing, okay? And so when Tony is giving you the receipts, you can see that it is facts based. Instead, if Tony wants to put in a little, zinger in there, yes, but you have the data, you have the court documents right there, and so you don't have to go look for them. But you don't want to just listen to what the person on Fox News's opinion is. Okay, there's a difference, and we know that.
Well, and I can tell you, even people that are on our side aren't necessarily always on our side for the very same reason. They have agendas, they have a motive. I can give you numerous examples just with the incident that I've been dealing with the last several months is, people are pretending to be, you know, they want to be on the good side of things or want to insert themselves in one way or another on the side that's actually trying to do good work. But even their actions aren't always productive for us. And in some cases, one of my concerns is always, I've been targeted so many times, and it's, there's various different angles of books that I'll be able to write at some point in the future when I can figure that out. But so I have a process when anybody tries to engage me, talk to me, whatever. And um, it's interesting how, in most cases, and I can give you so many examples of people that have talked to me or give me information. And in some cases, I even spent weeks, if not months, talking to them, and I haven't even shared. Like these are things I haven't even
Yeah,
written about. But
right,
what happens is they end up revealing themselves, which is part of my process before I do share information. Um,
right,
most of them end up revealing themselves in a way that their motivations aren't exactly aligned with what what my goals are, which are just to try to find ways to educate and fix this, educate people and find ways for us to fix this. And their goals may be aligned more personally motivated or whatever. And if that's the case, a lot of times I'm going to distance myself, which is one of the reasons why I distance myself from the Epstein Wiki group. Is I
right,
I felt that it was going there was some behind the scenes stuff that I'll share when it's appropriate in the future, but I really don't care. It's not,
right.
but uh, but in terms of the overall goals that they were reaching for,
Right.
it was just more than anything, it became distracting for me. I just don't. I have more important things to work on. I don't. I'm not worried about creating avatars or you know rewriting the shit that I've already put out there to so that it can be placed on something that I have no vested interest in other than
Right.
educating people.
Right.
And so you have to pick and choose your allies, and and in this world, you have to keep your circle small.
Yeah,
Unfortunately.
you do. Yeah, you do. Well, and I one thing that I wanted to point out before, like, I think that when we talk about sides, I really want to, again, we have beat a dead horse with it's not left or right. It's literally right against wrong. So I just want to point that out again because, the more we find out, like the more I find out about Democrats, I mean, okay, the more that I follow the money,
Mhm.
it all coming from the same places. And so when you see that and then the way they vote, and they may be voting a little bit better sometimes, but no, cut from the same cloth. So, like, I am not interested in labels for these people. I'm like, good or bad, your values align with mine. And honestly, at this point, you know, as long as it's us against the elite or the people that are want to make us literal slaves, like, so I'm trying to drop label, you know what I'm saying, to
Yeah,
like
no,
make it not more
absolutely.
welcoming, but like,
Yes.
listen, it's us, like,
Yeah.
we're
Our,
the humans
our
here.
core life goals are all the same. Period.
Yeah, I
Yes, our core life goals are just
they're
to,
trying to confuse you on
right.
what your life goals are, okay?
Yes. And, my life goal isn't to support a man who's, robbing and conning the world right now.
And shitting himself.
My personal life goal is to be comfortable in my home, be able to pay my bills, have food on my table and gas in my car, and be able to, spread joy, information, and wealth whenever I can, to help people.
Well, and not know that people are languishing in concentration camps that I'm funding with
Yes.
incinerators out back. So, like, I can feel, even if I'm not reading about it, I know it's happening.
Well, and there's so much of this going on that ties to a lot of stuff we've even talked about, even been involved in. Like it's like Amanda spent 3.5 months in an ICE detention center. I don't think people grasp
Understand?
the the weight of having that happen to somebody. It doesn't matter who it is. Imagine if it's you or me or a family member literally having been stuck in ice for 3.5 months. That's a real person who did this. And we've got people that have been in there for a year and a half now, in these places. And we know that, 51 people have died in these concentration camps already. And because the information's suppressed, we're all just, we're watching all the other shiny things go on, and most people just shut down because it's just too much for them. And at some point we have to draw a line. What is everybody's line?
That's what the Germans did, y'all.
Mm-hmm.
Stop.
Mm-hmm.
Stop. But then we have people getting 100 years for protesting outside of one and having literal magazines. When I read the magazine thing, I was thinking like for your gun. I don't know. I know it's part of a gun. I don't know much about guns, but a magazine. And then I found out it was literal fucking pamphlets. 100 years.
Mm-hmm.
100 years. Okay, so well, now that we got all of that out of the way, some of the news of the week, I did want to catch some people up. Um, we had some Supreme Court rulings. I'm not impressed. Not fucking impressed. I think the most consequential one that I I mean, I feel like a lot of people in this country were stressed about was the birthright citizenship one. And thankfully, it was a 5-4 decision with Amy Coney Barrett going on the majority. But to let birthright citizenship stand, but you're telling me that it was a 5-4, not a 9-0 unanimous? Like half of the Supreme Court, like I already knew they didn't think women were real, like equal, but like no, dude, they go in all birthright citizenship. They are trying to get rid of it, and they have a 5-4 decision. So now they have literal blueprint on how to pass it next time. Okay,
Yeah. Well,
that's
and that's part of the process is, you know, throw shit against the wall one time, and if it doesn't stick, throw more shit against the wall, having learned why it didn't stick the first time. You know, and let's
and we're paying for this. We're paying for this. Sorry.
let's all help people understand that this was a 5-4 decision, but the fact that Trump is an educated digital rapist was a 9-0. Trump is a
Okay.
rapist.
Yeah,
Trump
yeah, he is.
rapist. Make sure
They'll be like, oh, they didn't really mean that.
yeah, 9-0. Not a single one of his sycophants uh, uh, thought
Yeah,
of.
has the Supreme Court ever unanimously ruled in like the past 5 years? But they did for him being a rapist, so no one needs to be arguing with my ass about
Yeah.
that.
So but we're in a situation where none of this really, I don't want to say it doesn't matter, but a lot of the stuff that's going on is, I don't want to say it's Trump created issues, whether it be the reflecting pool, whether it be tearing down the East Wing, whether it be now he's actually, I don't know if you saw this, but this morning I read that where they did the UFC fight and everything, which is the lawn is
They
all,
never moving it.
well, no, he's actually building a helipad in front of the White House right now. They're putting a helipad there.
For Ghislaine Maxwell's helicopter
Yeah, who's
to
some.
land.
So, but yeah, they're putting a helicopter at the White House lawn now. So again, it's just, and all of these no bid contracts are going to all of his buddies, and it's all obviously a money laundering thing. And I'm sure there's a kickback to the presidents because 10% to the boss is the biggest projection there ever was when it came to Biden. And let's also make it clear that the guy who made up that whole story about the Biden and all of that, and the Ukraine and all of that, literally is in jail for it.
Yes, he is. I know. And that story didn't fucking
Yes.
make it up front.
Yeah. So
Ugh.
there's obviously so much going on. It's hard to keep everybody focused, but you have to pick and choose your battles and understand what's real and what's not. And at
Well,
least,
and different things matter to different people.
yep.
So, reading your audience when you are sharing this information, because, like, honestly, I found with Republicans, you got to get them with the money. The Epstein files, they're like, yeah, whatever. But like the money part, I'm like, wait, you said you wanted small government. I'm confused. Is this small government? And then they'll be like, well, but it's getting in there, and it's the money, and that's what matters to them. I mean, money matters to me because I need to eat, but like for real, like I'm not trying to have $1 trillion. But I wanted to read, I found some information about the 250th birthday party, and this is from the Leah Files. Have you ever read any of her information?
No.
The Leah Files. She has a podcast and she does have good receipts and she likes to follow the money. She's a money follower. So, we like that. But she's been looking into it. So she said that from what she has found out that it's looking like one big money laundering scheme with the tax dollars funding PragerU propaganda trucks, and Brad Parscale is that how you say his name, is
Yeah.
part of this whole deal. So I guess decades ago Congress set aside 150 million for America's 250th and created bipartisan commission to run it. Well, the rest was steered to Freedom 250. Let's see. The commission has received just 25 million and is now begging for more. The rest was steered to Freedom 250, a shell LLC Trump stood up in 2025 and hid inside a National Park Service charity. It has pulled in around 80 million. So basically, they're
Yeah.
making shell companies, it looks like, to do exactly what you were saying.
Well, exactly. It's follow the LLCs. I mean, it really is. I mean, I had mentioned on our last pod about how when Trump bought that mansion in Florida, outbid Epstein for it. It turns out even that LLC didn't belong to Trump, even though it had his name on it. It belonged to the Russian oligarch who ended up then laundering money by buying that same property for double the value. So it's all out there. It's just it's to be discovered. But even that at this point, it's I don't think we need to. The problem we
it's
don't need
it's
to
throwing
take.
too much info in there. Well, and in my mind, okay, money, again, I was just saying money, like it matters to have my needs met, but like besides that, like that's not, I know the government is fucking stealing money. Yeah, like I know. But I'm worried about the humans.
Well,
I and that's what I don't understand.
speaking about stealing money, it's been a long, well-known thing about the Pentagon losing trillions of dollars every time they're audited. And, I mean, it's a known fact that on 9/10, 2001, they announced that when they were audited, there was like $2.3 trillion that were missing right before 9/11. And we also know since then that we've had millions of dollars. But now we've got this current budget for the military has now doubled to $1.5 trillion when, it used to be 750. Well, put two and two together, it doesn't take a stable genius to figure out that that money's definitely being misspent, laundered, and
Peg's breath had to set up the liquor cabinet. He's getting the good whiskey, okay?
there's so much robbing going on at all angles. I mean, it's just next we need to stop looking for evidence and start doing something about it.
Right.
We know that nobody in the media, nobody in Congress, nobody is actually going to do something. The only thing we can do is stand up together and do something. Uh, General strike, you know, protests to the tune of millions of people. I mean, we have the bodies to do it, even if it's just the people that are as passionate as us, if we just stood up.
I know they're out there. Find us. They got us all in our own little echo chambers by ourselves. And
Mhm.
trust me, I'm trying to break out of the chamber. But to end this episode, I think that just to piss people off a little bit more, I think that we should read over Donald Trump's financial disclosure that finally came out.
Sure.
So I found this from Midas Touch, but it's all over the internet if anybody needs to look it up. But okay, the U.S. Office of Government Ethics released Donald Trump's 927-page financial disclosure today. Here's what a sitting US president made in 2025. But he gave up his fucking salary, guys. So he's hurting. He needed this. 635 million from the Trump meme coin with retail investors while retail investors watched it crash from 74 to 1.68. 594 million from the World Liberty Financial Token and stablecoin sales, 65 million from selling equity in that same company, 80 plus million in media settlements from ABC, CBS, Meta, and YouTube paid to his own presidential the library. Total crypto haul over 1.4 billion in 1 year while serving as the president of the United States. His net worth has nearly tripled from 2.4 billion to 6.3 billion since taking office. And while Trump pocketed 1.4 billion from crypto, the everyday American who bought his meme coin, they lost. So, 764,000 wallets ended up in the red. But he loves you guys. He's here for you.
Well, no, and it's simple math. There is everybody. I mentioned it earlier, but if you invested $10,000, that $10,000 is now only worth $415. But somehow, the person who created this giant Ponzi scheme earned 1.3 billion of your dollars. So he basically stole your money.
And you're still there like, yeah, daddy, love it. And I'm like, I don't get it. Again, that goes back to the thing. This is the first time that they could be openly love a man.
It's kind of like that joke of, let me just burn the money rather than spend it because I might as well anyway. I'm not, you're giving it away. You're
Well,
willful.
and these companies, like these shell companies and all of these things, are obviously other fucking criminals.
Mm-hmm.
So even if he's not getting all of that money, another criminal organization is.
Yeah. Well, it's so sad. I mean, Trump was never a billionaire. I mean, all of his
Ever.
financial, never ever a billionaire. He's on paper it appeared so. Just like Musk being a trillionaire, that's only on paper, and that only lasted a short time anyway. So, I mean, that bubble burst right away too when it comes to the SpaceX IPO and all the money.
Where's Mitch McConnell? Can
Yes.
some
Oh
of
yeah.
that billion bring him back?
Yeah. Where is Mitch? Mitch is lying somewhere waiting to be buried
Mitch
right now.
was
Is
in a
what I
ditch.
would.
Mitch was in a ditch. Did you hear the 911 call? They found him
Uh,
now, like I think outside on the
really?
14th. It was either the 13th or 14th of June.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, if ain't nobody saw him, you
Yeah.
don't stay on life support. I'm just telling you, you don't stay on life support for
There's
that
got to be
long.
somebody out there, somebody in the hospital that knows what's going on that just accidentally makes a call to the press or something or to
Oh,
us. Maybe comment
I'm
below.
not advocating for HIPAA laws to be broken, but there was a very good reporter that has been following this, and she is always up Mitch's ass, annoying him. And so she knows who his personal secret service detail is. And she has been trying to find Mitch, and his personal secret service people she saw them outside of that hospital parked.
Mm-hmm.
So that is the clues that I have, but we haven't seen him and he has not been looking well.
Mm-hmm.
He
But
looks
they've
like
been looking
he
over
looks like
too.
your grandma when it's someone else's birthday and she needs attention. She goes stands by the stairs.
What do we give
He
it?
needs a life alert. He needs a fucking life alert.
Well, you can't. You have to be alive to have a life alert. I don't
Oh,
think he's alive anymore. I
and on
honestly,
that
we
note,
can't put it past them that to hide his death because they know the
because and Tony, tell him the repercussions right now.
is it will change the balance of power in the Senate. The Democratic governor of Kentucky, Andy Bashir, right? Bashir
Yeah.
should would replace Mitch McConnell's seat. He has the choice to do that legally because that's how it all works. That's why
Uh-huh.
they're hiding his condition because they don't want the Democratic governor to see another Democrat Republican to replace Mitch McConnell because that changes the balance of power in Congress itself. So they will hide his death
Senate,
indefinitely.
Senate. The
Senate,
Senate.
yes, they will
Yeah.
hide.
Just like they did that lady that was in the memory care unit in Texas.
Well, and there's also another. There is a congressman that's gone missing now too. I forget what the guy's name is, but you guys can look it up online. There's also a congressman that's been missing for over 100 and something days too. So
If I don't go to work and go missing, I get fucking fired. So,
exactly, exactly. So
and they
that-
won't approve my FMLA. So, Okay, well, thank you, Tony, for coming on short notice.
yes,
But next time, hopefully, we'll have Lisa and her soothing voice. But I hope everybody has a good 4th of July if we don't talk to you before then. And maybe don't spend money, but like blow some shit up with fireworks, okay? With fireworks.
hmm
Not your hand, though, okay? Bye, guys.
right.